Hello everybody. This video is going to be a opportunity to draw some things that are on weather maps. And I'm going to call it Weather Maps Drawings. And you should write what I write and draw what I draw. The first thing I'm going to draw is a station model. Sometimes weather maps are covered in these. And there's a circle in the middle that represents cloud cover. This half full circle would represent partly cloudy. And then there is what they call a wind barb that represents the wind direction. This is a south wind. And then there are the barbs are actually the kind of the feathers on the tail here. And these represent the wind speed. So this is a south wind at 25 knots. Each large barb is 10 knots and the small one is 5 knots. They have a number in the top left corner that represents temperature, and a number in the bottom left corner that represents dew point. Dew point is the temperature at which humidity would be 100%. So if the temperature and the dew point are the same, then the humidity is 100%. South wind at 25 knots, temperature 60, dew point 55. And then there is a number in the top right corner that is air pressure in millibars. And you have to decode it a little bit. So all of the air pressures on the planet range between 950 and 1050 millibars. If your number is, if the front number is 9, then you put a 9 in front. So for example, this would be 988.8 millibars. But if your number in front is lower, if it's like a 1, then you put a 10 in front. It's always 3 numbers, but it has to be decoded. And the last one is always a decimal. And then sometimes there's a directional thing here. This would say that the air pressure was rising. And there can be station models with more complicated things on them. Sometimes there's precipitation. Little dots usually mean rain. Other symbols include asterisks for snow and stuff like that. But you wouldn't have to memorize that. You would probably have a key to decode it. So that's basically what a station model is. And then over here, I want to draw fronts, weather fronts. So there are a few different types of fronts. When it's a warm front, if the map is in color, then it's in red with little half circles on it. I call that, I think of that as a rising sun. That's your warm front. And then you have a cold front. It's usually in blue. And it has triangles. So that's like maybe icicles. And then you have your stationary front. A stationary front would have alternating triangles going in one direction and circles going in another direction. And then there's a fourth kind that's called the occluded front, which has alternating triangles and half circles usually pointed in the same direction. So this one is stationary. This one is occluded. So what a warm front looks like on the ground, this is the surface of the Earth. Put a couple little trees down here to show you that that's the surface of the Earth. It's a warm air mass headed in this direction. The symbols always point in the direction that the front is moving. And what you have is warm air overtaking cold air. And in front of the front, like ahead of it as it's moving, you get clouds and maybe a little bit of precipitation. Often cirrus or stratus clouds, actually. A cold front, similarly, has one air mass taking over another, but it behaves a little bit differently. Because it's cold air moving in, the warm air is kind of pushed upwards, and you end up with cumulonimbus clouds. I'll draw a lightning bolt in there as well, and thunderstorms at a cold front. So warm front, kind of light rain out ahead of the front. The warm air that's moving in wedges on top of the cold air. Cold front, cold air is coming in, pushing the warm air up and causing thunderstorms at the front. So if you see this symbol on a map, it's thunderstorms. If you see this symbol on a map, it's light rain. Stationary front, we don't need to draw from the side, but you should just remember that it doesn't move. And I think of it as rain for days because it doesn't move. And so in the same location, you have precipitation for a long period of time. And an occluded front is a complex interaction. Another important thing to know is that all fronts are going to be around a low. You never have fronts around a high. And in the northern hemisphere, they run counterclockwise around a low. So low pressure means rain and weather, lousy weather. I think the L stands for lousy weather. And high pressure is no clouds. Clear skies. And that's it. So thanks a lot. Bye-bye.